everyone, welcome back to ErikaBuilds and another Sims 4 speed build. Today we are in the world of Brindleton Bay, working on a home on a 40 by 40 lot, and this house is gigantic. That's all I will warn you about now. It is probably the biggest house that I've ever built. And the funny thing about it is I didn't really know that it was going to be this big when I started. When I found the reference photo, I was like, oh yeah, this is like a really cute 2-story house. This will be fun. And it ended up being this gigantic mega house, and I've been working on it all week, and that's why there haven't been any videos this week, because I've been working on this house in all my free time. And I haven't had a lot of free time this week because my work's been crazy and weird family things. My dad had to have surgery, and then it was his birthday, and I don't know, it's just like one of those weeks where like crazy things were going on. So every time I had a free moment, I tried to work on this house, and I am so glad that it is done. There were several points where I didn't think I was going to be able to finish it. But anyway, like I said, it's on a 40 by 40. And you're seeing now the reference photo that I used for this build, and I found it on Instagram. I think it was on a realtor's Instagram that I follow, and as I was scrolling through and I saw it, I was like, wow, that house is so pretty. I wonder if there's any way that I can build it in The Sims, because it has some interesting, sort of unusual shapes to it that I knew would be challenging, especially with the roof and with the garage. And so I wasn't really sure if it was going to work out. And I think in the end, it came pretty close to the original. There are a few things that I couldn't get to work, especially the garage. I had a really hard time, you see me working on it now, with this garage, because every time I tried to do like a steep roof, it was either pitched too high or I couldn't get the angle right, and it was looking like a barn. I don't know, I was having a lot of trouble, and I really didn't want the roof of the garage to be as tall as the house itself. So I don't know, it changed a lot over the building process until finally I was like semi happy with it. I'm still not 100% happy with it, but if you've been watching my videos, you probably know by now that I'm very rarely ever happy with anything. So in the grand scheme of things, I guess it's just par for the course for me that I'm not happy with it. But other than that, the rest of the house I think turned out pretty good. I did not have a picture of the back of this home, unfortunately, and I had a really hard time trying to invent some sort of back that made sense with the front. And I had plenty of space to work with because this lot, was a 40 by 40. And it was actually really lucky that I chose this lot to build the house. And I'll tell you, the main reason why is because I knew the way the garage extended out the front and made kind of like this L shape. I knew I was going to need a pretty deep lot in order for it to fit, and I had this empty 40 by 40 in Brindleton Bay that had been sitting here forever. I don't think I've built anything on this lot in a year or more. I don't know. It's been a long time. And so I guess it was kind of like the perfect storm. It's like, okay, I've got this really beautiful reference photo. I've got this empty lot that I don't know what to do with. And so it started to all come together. Another challenge was the windows. You'll see me working on those now. I say this over and over, I know, every time, but we never have the windows that I want. Like, I feel like I can visualize the exact windows that I feel like are in the catalog, and then I scroll and scroll and I can't find them, and I guess I just dream that we have more windows than we do. I don't know. So I started out with Seasons, and I thought the trim was way too thick for what was in the reference photo, and I played around with the Moschino windows and some windows from Parenthood and also from Get Famous, and I ended up using a mixture of base game windows and Seasons and also Moschino all together. And even though all the trims don't really match, because unfortunately, anytime you mix windows from different packs, you're gonna lose a lot of that uniformity in the size and thickness of the frame. So that was kind of unfortunate. And you know me, it's like when it's not matching, I get stressed out. And so I think in the end though, it turned out okay, because what I tried to do, and this is a little tip I'll give you if you're struggling like I was with windows. If you have to use windows for multiple different packs, I think it really helps if you just try to make them sort of symmetrical. So I knew I was going to have to use those long, narrow Seasons windows in black because they were the only ones we had that had the grids in the top and the solid plain pane of glass in the bottom. So since I knew I was stuck with those, what I did was I used Seasons windows on the left side of the house also. So even though they don't match the windows in the center of the house, they kind of balance out by matching each other. So I think that is a good way to get by with mixing a lot of different types of windows. The only window I think that I ended up not really being very happy with is the rounded window on the front left side of the first floor. That is from, I believe, Get to Work, and I've used it in several builds lately because I keep finding reference photos that have these gorgeous like arched windows, and we don't have those in the game. And so I keep having to use that one, even though it's like a shop. I think it's like a storefront window. I don't know, but I keep using it anyway because I just don't have anything else that I can choose. And so that's really the only one that I would say I don't like, but I think the other ones all sort of balanced each other out. And then in the reference photo, the roofing was a combination of shaker shingles and then this sort of like pounded tin or pressed tin. I'm guessing, maybe it's not tin, I don't know. It could be steel. Roofing material that was used. So I replicated that, and you know, so it's coming together, I think, pretty well. I was kind of panicking though as it was starting to get more and more done, because I was like, this house is so huge. Like, what am I going to put in this house? We can only have 8 Sims, right? So yeah, if you have an 8 Sim family, with like, you know, parents with like 5 kids and a dog or a cat or something, you would probably really love this house because it's really perfect for like a big giant family that needs a lot of space. And oh yeah, so here I am kind of making up some other things as I go along. A lot of times when houses have like roof details and eaves and things in the reference photos that we don't have, I try to sort of make it on my own using like different kinds of like shelves or brackets or something, and it never really looks that great, but I feel like it's better than nothing, because if I don't put anything there, then it's like I forgot, you know. And I went through the catalog so many times trying to find anything that we have in debug or anywhere that was a triangle, because I kept thinking if I could find something that was a triangle, I could blow it up and I could, you know, mount it on that eave and it would, you know, be kind of like a fake way to do it, I guess. But I couldn't find anything triangle shaped. If you know of anything in the catalog or the debug menu that is triangle shaped, please let me know, because that would have been really, really helpful when I was doing the point of the roof over that garage. Yeah, but anyway, so there are garages here in the front, which what I ended up doing is I did leave them as garage doors. So if you want to park some of those cars from the debug, you could easily put those in the driveway. But actually I ended up using that garage for something else, which you'll see a little bit later on in the video. So for the exterior, we have a combination of stone, which that wallpaper is just a base game stone, and then a mixture of wood siding and shingle siding. And I ended up going with the white wood siding and in the vertical pattern with mixed with the shaker shingle siding that comes from cats and dogs, and I think it matches pretty well. This is a very light colored house though. You know, other than the hints of black that you get with the roof and the windows, all of the rest of the exterior is very light. And actually I ended up taking that into the inside of the house as well, which was kind of funny because the last, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 8 builds that I've done have been all very fall themed and rustic with lots of dark, rich woods. And so this house is all light inside with lots of gray. And it felt so funny because it had been such a long time since I've done a light interior, but it was fun. And I think for this particular lot in Brindleton Bay right here on the coast, you know, it has that New England-y sort of vibe to it. So I feel like the light exterior with the light interior all, you know, matches the world. Here I am still working on the windows. Now you know why I was working on this house for like 4 days. I just couldn't get myself to be satisfied with anything. I think those were some base game. No, those windows were actually from Get Together, and then I switched them to these base game windows, which are Octapane. I'm sure you're familiar with. That's like one of the oldest windows we have in the game. So I switched them to that, and I think it looked better in the end. So yeah, we're almost done with the exterior now. I'm just working on the porch. It has a really nice front porch. And then of course the garages and the driveway. You know, I was trying to make it sort of come down and match up the lot, because this particular lot, it has this really impressive like circle drive in front of it. And so I was trying to get it to kind of blend with that a little bit. And then on the inside, you see me now working on the stairs. I knew I wanted to have these turning stairs going up from the first floor to the second floor in an L shape. That would be visible through the windows. That was very important that it did that. And so I kept it very open. And actually the third floor looks down. You'll see that a little bit later when I get up to the third floor. It actually looks down into that stairwell also. So you have a 3-story, very, very dramatic 3-story stairwell in the front of the house, which at night looks, well, you got to see it there for a second. At night it looks really pretty because you can see the light shining through and the stairs winding up, and I don't know, I just really like the staircase. And those windows are from Moschino Stuff Pack. Yeah. Okay, so now we are just, I think I was getting ready to do the screenshots. If you follow me on Instagram, I did post a screenshot at this stage when I had just finished the front facade and put it up on my Instagram. So that was kind of the stopping point for the day. And then the next day I worked on the back, and I actually didn't film myself, record myself doing the back of the house because I literally spent like all day working on it. I mean, when I say all day, I mean when I get home from then until the time I went to bed, working on it, because I had no idea what the back was going to look like. And it took me a really, really, really long time to come up with the back. So hopefully you guys think it turned out okay. So I skipped that a little bit because I wanted you to see the floor planning. And for most of it, you know, it was kind of funny because I really didn't know for sure what type of family would live here. And so at first I thought maybe I might make this like a generations type house where there'd be like a parents area and then like a grandparents area, because I had so much space, and I thought, oh, the grandparents could have almost like their own little apartment, and they could even have like a little kitchen, and I could do like this whole grandparents area. But then I remembered that the last couple of houses that I built that were really, really large, I did a grandparents area. And so I was like, nah, I want to do something different this time. And so what I ended up doing on the third floor is making it like a floor for the teenagers. So the second floor has the parents and the kids' bedrooms, and then the third floor has the bedrooms for the teens. And then they have their own like living room, like teen sort of hangout living room, which you'll get to see more of that later. So yeah, that was kind of how I helped take up all of this space. And so I'm starting in the kitchen first because that's where I always start. And this kitchen is ridiculously large, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I even going to put in this kitchen? It's so big. These cabinets that I chose are from Cool Kitchen Stuff. I actually used a lot of Cool Kitchen stuff in this house. And if you saw the build that I did a couple of months ago called Coastal Family Home, you might remember that I said I really like using these cabinets when I'm doing coastal sort of property, because I like how they're sort of modern, but not too sleek. They're not like ultra modern, like a spa day type counter. They're more of like a traditional sort of modern. And so I thought it would fit really nice with this house. And this particular swatch in the gray has this very weathered sort of wood. It almost looks like weathered pine or something. And you know how you get that special kind of wood? It's like driftwood that turns gray because it's been out on, I guess it's from the salt water or something. It kind of reminded me of that. And so that was my thought process there. And so with this kitchen, it kind of ended up having zones. So you have one zone in the corner where the stove is, and I left one empty countertop there for cooking. And then you have another little zone kind of up closer to the entryway where there's a coffee maker and some storage and stuff. Then you have this very, very large center island bar with the hanging pot rack, and that is where the sink and the dishwasher are located. And then over in the other corner, where that big laundry day window is, I did a little dinette set there for like an eat-in kitchen. And then there's a little buffet table over there with like some tea and coffee and stuff like that. So this large kitchen, I kind of had to break it into little chunks and kind of make these little areas. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been able to fill this kitchen up because it was just so huge. Oh, and then I forgot to mention, in the other corner, I did like a little pet area. So there's like, I decided this family would have a cat because I hadn't done much for cats in a while, and I usually give families a dog. And so I just thought, just to be different, I would give this family a cat. So I went all out with, you know, the big giant cat climbing thing. I don't know what it's called, with like all the little scratching areas and stuff. I went with one of those because at this point, I'm just trying to think of things that will like take up the most space possible. Oh, and then here's another little zone. So this little buffet area, I put the ice cream maker and the popcorn maker because I kind of thought this would be like the little kids' kitchen. So when the kids or the teens come down, they want to make popcorn, or they want to have ice cream or whatever. So they kind of have their own little kids' kitchen over here. And I put some of those plates and silverware from the toddler stuff pack there because I thought that would be kind of like their little area where they have their snacks. So yeah, like I said, this kitchen is divide and conquer, I guess, just trying to fill up all the space possible. And then, of course, you probably noticed I used a lot of archways. These archways are from Strangerville, and I've talked about them in a lot of videos because they are my absolute favorite arches. I think they're beautiful. It doesn't matter if you're doing rustic or traditional or modern. I don't care what kind of build it is. I think those arches are just perfect for everything. And so I wanted to keep this house very open, mainly because, of course, I had tall ceilings on this first level, and then I had all these huge windows. And so I wanted to keep the house feeling very bright and open and airy. And so I think the arches really help with that. The arch that you're seeing just there on the right side of the screen now, that actually takes you into the laundry area, which I decided not to close off with doors. I decided to leave it open, just because I don't know, I just felt like it looked good. Somebody asked me on Instagram the other day, they're like, how do you, like, what's your thought process on like when you make decisions? And I honestly don't really give it too much thought. When I build, and even when I do interiors, I don't really like sit down with pen and paper and write out ideas or think much about it at all. I just kind of sit down and I just go into a zone. I have my playlist on and I'm just building, and I don't really know. I guess just kind of whatever seems to match the world that I'm building in and the type of house that I'm building and the colors. Like a lot of times my exterior colors will set the tone for the interior colors. So yeah. Anyway, so we've moved on now to the dining room. And again, I'm carrying the same colors. So there's lots of gray in here. I used the Cool Kitchen Stuff dining room table because I thought it would complement really nicely with the bar stools and cabinets that I used in the kitchen, because again, you know, with all the archways, I wanted everything to match. But then I paired that table with some very traditional sort of old-fashioned chairs, and I kind of like doing that. I love mixing like a modern table with like an old-fashioned chair. I just think it gives a home like a lot of character. And not to say that there's anything wrong with doing just a strictly modern build, because I do that a lot of times too. But a lot of times when I'm doing like big family homes with lots of kids, I kind of think about making the house maybe a little bit more cozy and family friendly than just doing like super duper ultra modern interiors. So yeah, this hutch is from Cats and Dogs, and I put a high chair in here because there is a toddler in this family. And the dining room is accessible from the kitchen and also from the living room, which is kind of nice because if you're having a dinner party, you know, your guests can come right out of the living room into the dining room to eat. Or, you know, when you're cooking, you're taking the food from the kitchen to the dining room back and forth. It just makes a nice traffic flow. And then this is the living room. This is more like the formal living room because the kids have their own living room upstairs on the 3rd floor. So this one I was kind of thinking more for guests. That's why I put a bar in here, and the furnishings and the decor in here I feel like are very you know, adult and sort of more formal for like entertaining and stuff like that. And I started out with that brick fireplace from Cats and Dogs, but I really just was not liking how the brick looked against that stone, and I knew I wanted to keep that stone because it was the same stone that I used on the front of the house. And so I switched it out to this white fireplace from Parenthood, which I think turned out much better and it matched better. And it's also a little more clean and not as rustic. And then for the furniture, I went with Jungle Adventure, mainly just because I knew with this white and gray that there was a swatch in this particular set that I really, really liked, and I've used this quite often. I just really like how it looks, basically. I just think it's very clean and it's just very pretty. And I think it looks really nice with the gray rug. And so then I just mixed that with some other various tables. The coffee table, I think that is from Parenthood. And then the sofa table is from Jungle Adventure as well. So yeah, this is very light and bright. And then I just added some pops of color in the artwork. I chose nautical, sort of like beach inspired artwork from Cats and Dogs because, you know, you're living on the beach and there's a gorgeous lighthouse right out the back window. So the artwork was definitely tied in to match the surroundings. And there's a stereo in here from Get Famous. Those curtains that you're seeing there by the fireplace are from Vintage Glamour Stuff. And then I put a bar with some liquor bottles over there in the little bar area. And then there's just a bookshelf here that I was cluttering up with some odds and ends. So yeah, this room's pretty much done. And I like this layout because, again, it has lots of arches. So as you're coming through the front door of the house, through the entryway, there's an arch where it opens right up to this living room. So it's very easy, you know, for guests and things like that when they first come in. And then it has the archway to the dining room, which I mentioned already. And then there's a third archway that goes into the office. So yeah, lots of different, you know, kind of pathways. And the office is kind of interesting because I did double French doors on one side and then an archway on the other side because I just wanted it to be like really open. But if you wanted more of a private office, you could easily pull that archway out and put double doors on both sides and it would be very private. Okay, so the entryway for this house is crazy gigantic. When I was looking at this entryway, I was thinking to myself, how in the world am I going to fill this entryway? It's going to be impossible. And so I'm thinking of like every possible item that I can put here. So I've got entryway table, I've got mirrors, I've got little cubbies for the kids and for the backpacks, and there's a bench for taking shoes on and off, and a place for coats. And yeah, I mean, this was just creativity pushed to the max to try to think of how many different ways I could fill that entryway. And then as I was looking at that wallpaper, I knew that I was going to have to change it in that stairwell just because anytime you're using wallpaper that has like a border at the bottom or the top, that's not going to work for like a 2-story effect unless you want to have like a border running around the middle of the wall. Okay, so here's this office that's in the front, and yeah, I'm just keeping everything very much matching with the living room. So the wallpaper in here is just a variation of that same cats and dogs design, except this one has the pinstriping at the top, which I think is nice for an office. And there's a computer desk in here and some bookcases, and I'm just kind of using all the typical office and desk type of decor. I think this would be a nice family office or for a work from home, you know, freelancer type situation. I think it would work nicely for all of that. And then I use this new curio cabinet that we got with Realm of Magic because I just think it's a really interesting piece of furniture. And even though this is obviously not a magical type of house, I think the furniture is actually pretty versatile if you want to use some of those pieces just in your regular builds. Okay, so here you're seeing another time skip, and you might have noticed that I ended up putting an indoor pool in the garage. And mainly the reason I decided to do that was I had this sort of long room and I didn't really have any idea of what I was going to do with it. And so I just thought, yeah, you could swim laps in here. This room is so long, you could swim laps. So that's how the pool downstairs was born. But don't worry, you'll see pictures in the screenshots. And of course, this house is available to download from the gallery if you want to get a closer look at the pool area. Okay, so up here on the second floor, I started with the master bedroom, and this master bedroom kind of turned into a suite because it had this really nice little indoor porch area that was connected to it. And I started thinking about these parents, and I was like, okay, so they have this kind of like bringing the outside in type of vibe, and it's got this kind of interesting porch area. So I decided to do their bedroom in island living. Well, it's not all strictly island living, but it's a mixture of island living with cats and dogs. And I kind of was thinking that maybe they really like to travel, maybe they love to go to, you know, tropical destinations, and so they kind of bring that feeling home. And that was kind of fun to think about. And so I got to use some of the island living furniture for them. And make their bedroom just kind of feel like their own little private oasis, which is probably nice if you have 5 kids. I can't even imagine. You probably need all the private oasis that you can get. But yeah, again, this room is gigantic, so there's plenty of room for everything. That's why I went full, you know, dresser, chest, the dressing table, the bookcase. They've got music in here, and then of course their little porch area is all decked out with like wicker furniture and those sort of like flowy curtains that are from Island Living. And then I chose the artwork over the bed that I thought looked kind of tropical. So yeah, this just feels like a nice, peaceful, sort of relaxing bedroom that the parents kind of get, where they go to get away from it all. The colors in here, mostly all just very white, lots of cream and white and light brown. This bathroom is also done with Island Living, and the wallpaper is base game actually, but it looks really nice with the Island Living cabinets. You can see here I'm working on the toddler room, which is right next to the master bedroom, and that kind of makes sense to me that the youngest child would want to be near the grown-ups, the parents, or the mom or dad, or whoever happens to be living here. This room is just kind of your standard typical toddler room. There's toys and like the toddler tablet and building blocks and a toy box and a bookshelf, and yeah, all the typical things. And then this toddler also has their own bathroom as well. And I think oh no, there's only one pair of bedrooms that share a Jack and Jill bathroom, but all the other bedrooms all have their own bathroom, because how is he going to take up all this room, right, in this huge house? So yeah, lots of bathrooms. And I made sure to put a potty seat in here, and I like to use this Parenthood tub and shower combo with the elephants on it anytime I do bathrooms for toddlers, because I just think it looks really cute. And the blue and green ties in nicely with the theme of the bedroom. And now going down the hallway, there are 2 more children's rooms, and I didn't really have any particular type of kid in mind. I just tried to make all the bedrooms very colorful and, you know, kind of unique so that they could express each child's, you know, personality. And I think anytime you do a house that's really, really big, you can't really keep all the bedrooms sort of the same theme, because it's just too much. It's like overkill with everything being the same. And so I try to bring in some kind of uniqueness to each child's room, and maybe it even helps you get an idea of what kind of kid might live here. So this first room is done in red, white, and blue, and I think it's pretty generic. I mean, there's a computer desk in here and a bed and a toy box. And there is some video gaming stuff in here, like decor for like the void critters. So maybe it's a kid who really likes to do gaming, and that void critters gaming console always takes up so much space. So it's really nice to use when you have a lot of room to take up. And then the room right next to it, I decided to go a little more muted in here. So this room is done in yellow, and it almost looks like more of like an older child, maybe a preteen or a teenager, just because the decor is a little more grown up. But I really love yellow. Light yellow is just, I don't know, it's very cheerful and bright and happy sort of feeling. And this room gets a lot of really nice sun because it faces out the front where the sun is coming down right now. I think it's like about 5 o'clock or so in the game. So the sun is starting to set right out the front of this lot, which is kind of pretty. And yeah, so in here, there is of course a bed and a dresser, and there's a computer desk, and I made sort of like a little reading area with like a bench and some books and magazines, full-length mirror, laptop. Yeah, so it's pretty much got all the standard kid type of stuff. When I do these houses, and I'm not really building them for my own like particular family that I'm playing in the game, I try to just make these rooms very versatile. So if you move your Sims family in here and you need certain types of hobbies or interests or whatever, it shouldn't be super difficult to adjust, like, you know, pulling out a few things to add a few other things, and, you know, to make it fit exactly the type of personality that you would need. And yeah, I'm just kind of cluttering up this little bookshelf area and finishing up a few more pieces of decor. There's a lot of makeup in here and like hair products and stuff like that. And then this bedroom also has its own bathroom, which is really big. The way these windows were in the front, I knew it was going to be a really big bathroom, so maybe that kind of influenced how I was designing the bedroom. And so in here, I went with a big corner tub, and then I did a mixture of Get Famous with Island Living. So the colors definitely tie in with the bedroom, with a lot of light wood and yellow and gold, with white and gray. So yeah, it's very muted, but I think it's very pretty. And there's lots of space in this bathroom. So I went all out with just trying to think of all the different kind of bathroom decor and clutter and stuff that would kind of match the kid that I thought might live in this room. And actually all of these bedrooms almost turned into little miniature suites because they were all so large and they all have their own bathroom. So yeah, this is definitely a family who is well off, and they like to have a lot of room for all their stuff. Yeah, so this kind of furry rug I think looks nice, and then the curtains to match as well. So now we are finally up on the third floor, and I did that second living room there off camera. Basically what I did is I used the little couches from my first pet stuff, and I made like a sort of like an oval couch that would be really, really big. And so the bedrooms up here are definitely for teenagers. Lots of electronics and gaming stuff and movie posters, and just the decor I feel like is definitely more in the teen or young adult sort of vibe. So yeah, definitely not the grandparents up here this time. This is definitely for the young people. So yeah, even young adults that still live at home, that would work too. And there's a lot of black in here with some stripes and camouflage and all kinds of, I don't know, teen looking like stuff. This teen has the video streaming table, so maybe they're doing their own YouTube channel or something, who knows. And yeah, so this is the only bedroom. These two bedrooms share a Jack and Jill bathroom, just because I felt like, I don't know, it just seemed like it would work, and I had the right kind of layout to kind of put the bathroom right in between the two bedrooms. So hopefully the teens don't mind sharing. Okay, so yeah, here's the bathroom, and again, I'm carrying through the black, but I was really excited because this sink, black and white sink, has copper fixtures, and then the toilet is white with the copper fixtures, and then the flooring was black with the copper like grout, and then the shower was black and white and gray with like this kind of orangey copper looking bathtub. I don't know, it was all matching, so I was getting really excited about that, and I think it turned out really cute. And then for the last bedroom, this also is another teen, so maybe these are like teen brothers, or maybe they're twins, I don't know. But for this one, I went with guitars. So this teen has guitars on their bed. They have the guitar handle wall decal, which I didn't even know that was guitar handles for a long time. It was like a year probably till I knew those were guitars. And then I gave them a whole collection of guitars for their room as well. So yeah. And then orange is kind of the theme color here, because I remembered in the fitness stuff pack that we had all this furniture that had orange in it. So the bookcase and the mirror and stuff have like the orange and yellow colors, which I thought matched the bed really nicely. I'm still not 100% sure I love that rug, but it does have orange in it, so I think it goes, but you could always swap that out for something else if you don't like it. And then both of the teens also have lava lamps in their room, because I think that's, you know, that's very cool. Oh, another thing that's off camera, right on the other side of the teen sort of like hangout living room area, there is also a home gym that has a treadmill and weights and a punching bag. So yeah, the teens are living the good life up here. They've got all kinds of stuff to do, and yeah, they've got everything up here on their own sort of private floor. And I'm just adding a little book like reading area over here in the corner. Yeah, so we're finally almost coming to the end of this build. I just have a couple more hallways that I have to do. I did a lot of the hallways off camera because this house I think has like 1, 2, 3, 4. It has like at least 4 hallways. And that is always so hard to do. It's like, what do you do? I don't know. It's like, how many plants and mirrors and bookcases can you put before you run out of ideas? Yeah, and then I decided out in the yard, they have a little barn, like shed, that has the flower arranging table and the woodworking table. They have a garden, they have beekeeping, they have a little basketball court, they have an indoor and outdoor pool. They have a grill area, they have a swing set. I mean, this family has everything. So I hope you guys like this build. It is in the gallery to download. My ID is ErikaBuilds. Also, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My username is ErikaBuilds there as well. And I will see you all again next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.